Oh. Few minutes after your day to ask you a couple questions. Have you ever liked a show but you couldn't understand why you liked it? Or were you ever embarrassed of something that you enjoyed? Well, you're in luck because that's basically my relationship with the show I'm about to talk about today. Boy, is this video gonna cause so much controversy. Hello guys, to everybody that's new to the channel, thank you for the appreciation and hope you guys will tune in for more. But today, as my first official video, last video was kind of just a test run, while this one is like my first official video talking about something. So today I just want to talk about a show that's been on my mind for the longest, and that is of course
Hazbin Hotel.
Bro, what did you just say? I just said bust
Hazbin Hotel.
Nah, bro, that's still gay.
Now, when I say the name Hazbin Hotel, there will be a mix of emotions, as this show is truly what you would call an anomaly. You either love this show or hate this show's guts. You either adore this show for its uniqueness and catchy songs, or hate it because of its questionable writing decisions and themes. Now, after all that, you may be thinking, Mari, what do you think about the show? Well, I'm here to tell you right now that, trigger warning, I liked it.
What did you say?
Oh my god. Did you not hear what Mari just openly admitted to? He just openly admitted that he likes Hazbin Hotel. Now, hold, give me a minute. Wait, stop, please let me explain, stop! Okay, please, just give me time, okay? I promise I can explain. But like I said, yes, I do like Hazbin Hotel. But to be honest, it's pretty complicated. My relationship with this show is the definition of a love-hate relationship, as there's some stuff in it which I like a lot, while also having some stuff in it that I'm not a fan of. But even through all that, I still find this show just very fascinating. I don't know what it is about it, but just something about this show has just captivated me so much, and I cannot explain why. So the purpose of me making this video is to show you why this show has garnered such a strong reaction, both positively and negatively, but to show you what makes this show so fascinating to talk about. Because despite this show being pretty short, most of the videos that you'll watch in it are like an hour long, which just conveys how complex the show is. So in this video, we're gonna go over all the hits, everything about this show, and by the end of the video, hopefully you watching this video will give this show a watch so you can form your own opinion. And just a disclaimer, I don't want people to strictly get their opinions from the show from my video. I encourage you to watch the show first before you make your judgments on this show. And also another disclaimer, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's probably going to be pretty long, so I suggest get snacks while watching this. Hell, go order from Uber Eats or DoorDash while you're at it. But enough of me dragging out the intro, and let's officially dive into what I think is the most polarizing show ever made. Now, before we get into the actual episodes, I just want to quickly go over a little bit of the discourse around the show, as I think the discourse is pretty dumb on both sides. When it comes to Hazbin Hotel fans, from what I've seen, they seem pretty delusional in my opinion, and they seem like they're extremely sensitive to criticism, and they're kind of the reason why this show has gotten a bad rep by people ever since its creation. In my opinion, the biggest problem that I've seen that the fandom has had has, because I personally feel like they get too attached to the show and the characters they like, to the point where if they see someone criticize the show or the character, they feel like it's a personal attack on themselves. But then again, this is why you don't interact with any show's fandom. That's not to say there aren't any reasonable people in the fandom. I've seen quite a few. I'll just show a few on screen. And I do believe the fandom does have good intentions and a good heart. But yeah, this just confirms that fan bases ruin everything they touch. And it's a big reason why I don't like interacting with any show's fandom, no matter what the show is. Even with that being said, while I do feel like the fandom is cringe, I will say the hate fan base for this show isn't much better. Because despite what you want to say about the Hazbin fandom, the hate for this show is probably the most extreme I've ever seen for any show in my life. Like, I'm not talking about normal hate that everything gets. The hate that this show gets is truly extreme. Like, the haters of the show are trying to frame this show as the worst thing in the adult animation space or anything in its field since Big Mouth. But don't get me wrong, this isn't me trying to say anyone who hates this show is bad and doesn't make any sense, because sometimes they will have a few valid points, and we'll get more into that once we talk about the episodes. But the main problem with these people is that they can go way too overboard, and it makes them come across as desperate. Because I know there's a portion of these people that are trying to make the career of this show Pop to be a bad person and basically accusing her of being every single bad thing you can think of. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys. To all the people who are claiming that you shouldn't watch Hazbin because the career is allegedly a bad person, here's what I have to say about that.
That's why I just take shit, like the shit that I like is just, I like it surface level, bro. I like it surface level. I don't Google every actor and their personal things before I go see a movie, bro. I'm not that type of person that I feel like that's what Twitter people do. And I feel like there's people that claim, you know, like, you shouldn't watch this movie, you shouldn't support this person, da-da-da. And you mean to tell me before you see any movie that you like, you search up every actor, every, not even the supporting cast, you search up their past too. And if they done anything you're not seeing the movie, when you listen to music, you look at the history of each artist, the person who produced the beat, the person who engineered certain things. You're looking up through all that shit just because you're so pure and you're not about. Shut the fuck up, my nigga. Shut the fuck up, bitch. I hate people like that, bro. You shouldn't watch this movie because this person makes this. Nigga, what else movie do you watch? What other games do you play? How many fucking voice actors are in that game that probably did some weird shit? You should not be playing that game.
For real though, I never really like to use that argument, as I feel like people use it disingenuously to build their agenda against any show or movie they don't like. Because you know damn well if it came out that one of the shows they liked had a person that wasn't really a morally righteous person, they would be defending it and making all the excuses in the world. That's why I always tell people to like what they like, but like it from a distance. And while I have done a lot of bashing to the Hazbin fandom, I will be the first to say that the Hazbin fandom does get clowned on a lot, especially on Twitter and TikTok.
I don't want to come across like a woke asshole, but like, dude,
Hazbin Hotel fans
have it hard.
And to an extent, I don't think they deserve it, because when you look at it, most of the people that are fans of it aren't really cringe people. They're just normal people like the show. But it's sad to see how a few subsection of fans can alter the perception of that fandom to the public to where they'll go against that fandom no matter what. Like, I'll never forget the time that Invincible fans, yes, fans start getting into beef with Hazbin fans. It all stemmed from the Hazbin Hotel announcement that its other show, Hell of a Boss, is also going to be on Amazon Prime. And Invincible fans basically got mad because they thought Amazon Prime was choosing to fund a Hazbin and Hell of a over Invincible. And Invincible fans have been begging for Amazon Prime to spend more funding for Invincible so they can get better animation, because that was one of the biggest problems people had with the show is his animation was inconsistent. So you can probably imagine how much hate Hazbin got during that time. But when you actually look into it, Invincible fans pretty much got mad over nothing. Because first off, let's just make something clear. A24 is the one that owns Hazbin Hotel, which means they are the one that are funding the show, while A24 merely has the streaming rights to it. So whether Hazbin gets funded or not falls on the responsibility of A24, not Amazon. So essentially, Invincible fans pretty much didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. And by the way, the whole beef between Invincible and Hazbin was very one-sided. It was mostly Invincible fans being the ones getting mad and attacking Hazbin. But even with all that I just mentioned, the general public pretty much all took Invincible's side, even though they're completely in the wrong. And just to clarify, I'm a fan of Invincible. I just feel like people over-exaggerate the animation problems, in my opinion. Like, Invincible fans really thought Amazon pulled this on them. But that's really all I'm going to cover in terms of the drama, because personally, I don't really care about much of the drama that really goes on with the show. I just brought the Invincible point and other stuff because I wanted to give y'all a broad understanding of why this show is so divisive among the general public. And when it comes to the creator of the show, I don't know much about her, but I will say the one problem I can tell about her is that she does talk too much. She pays way too much attention to the discourse around the show, when that could all be solved by her just hiring a social media manager. But with that being said, I feel like I've been talking way too much, and let's finally actually get into the episodes that this show has to offer.
And now, our feature presentation.
So we begin our journey with the pilot that released all the way in 2019. It opens up with a song from the Disney princess herself, Charlie Morningstar, and is also the daughter of Lucifer in the show. Her main goal and basically the whole entire premise of the show is that she's trying to redeem sinners so they can potentially get a spot in heaven, and to also stop them from being killed by exorcists, which in this show are archangels who go down to hell to prevent the overpopulation of hell. Okay, now I will say, to start off this show, I will say the humor, I actually don't mind. I actually think is good now in the show, and that's a different story, but we'll get to that later. And the animation in this pilot is really, it's not only clean, but it just looks so unique. Like, I like all the wacky designs. Like, it just looks very appealing to me. But now let's actually get into the characters this show introduces.
Huh? Oh, I'm alive! I'm alive!
Thanks for the fun time, hot stuff.
Oh yeah, this character. So we get introduced to our friendly neighborhood femboy, Angel Dust, who is known in hell for being a certain actor. Okay, let's just rip the band-aid off. This dude's a sex worker. But regardless, how do I feel about his character? Well, in my opinion, I feel like his overall character is kind of overrated, at least to me. I know fans of the show love him, but to me, I feel like the show makes him out to be way funnier than he actually is. So whenever there's like a comedic moment with him, it's not that funny. Although in the pilot, I will say his humor isn't that bad. It's mostly in the actual show. Also, his character does have some plot holes that I feel like not a lot of people want to recognize. And yeah, his character just never was appealing to me. No, not in that way. So anyways, Charlie, along with her girlfriend Vaggie, try to pitch their idea for the hotel to the news, which goes absolutely horribly. Like, they straight up laugh her out the building, which forces Charlie to go back to the hotel feeling like a failure. But when all hope is lost, we get introduced to what I think is the best character in this entire show. The character who even Vizzy Pop said is her favorite character, and is also my favorite character too. Let's give a warm welcome to the radio demon himself. Alistair is just so fucking fun in this show. He steals the spotlight every time he's on screen for me. There's so much praise that I want to give to this character that I don't even know where to start. Like, he easily has the best voice in the entire show.
If I wanted to hurt anyone here, I would have done so already.
His design is top notch as well. But where I think his character really shines and what I think is why people love him so much is that he exudes so much charisma and personality. And on top of that, the dude's actually a pretty good guy. Like, none of the stuff he does is actually that bad. Sure, the dude may be a psychopathic narcissist who loves hurting other people and is a serial killer plus a slave owner. But come on, we've all had someone in our lives that have done some shit like that, right? But back to praising Alistair some more. I just personally love to see how this dude manipulates situations so he can get what he wants. I've seen a lot of people compare him to Bill Cipher, and while that is a good comparison, a character that Alistair reminds me a lot of is Light Yagami from Death Note. But to bring back the focus of the actual episode, Alistair offers to help out with the hotel just to see them fail. I'm not joking, that's literally why he's helping them. Charlie agrees that he can help out the hotel for as long as he desires because he's a powerful force to keep around, and on top of that, Charlie believes that everyone deserves a second chance and that she believes that Alistair can be redeemed. Alistair then introduces his slaves, I mean his friends, to help out with the hotel. Nifty and Husk honestly are probably some of my favorite characters, but I want to save until the actual episodes to really go in depth with them. Anyways, Serpentius crashes the party and gets absolutely annihilated by Alistair. And Alistair closes off the pilot by saying,
Now, stay tuned.
overall, I really love this pilot and made me really excited for the show. And that's what we're going to do right now. So let's get into the official show. So we kick off the first official episode with Charlie telling the story about Hell and how her mother Lilith has been gone for 7 years. Now the first thing you'll probably notice in this episode is that the animation for the show changed like a lot. And while some people do like the animation for the actual show, I've seen a lot of people say they prefer the pilot's animation. Now for me, while I do feel like the animation in the pilot was a lot more expressive, I still like the show's animation for how visually appealing it is. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I just love the color red. If it's red, I like it. And this show has a lot of red. And another thing I want to address is the new voice actors for the official show. Because if you didn't know, they basically changed out the entire voice cast for the show outside of Charlie's. And some people were kind of upset with that and saying it was a dumb decision. To me personally, I feel like the new voice actors did a great job. I can kind of understand why they got new voice actors because the new ones are a lot better at singing than the old ones. And plus the new voice actors sound just like the old ones, so it doesn't really matter in my opinion. But back to the main focus, that is this episode. Charlie gets a call from her dad Lucifer, with him saying he wants Charlie to go down to meet up with the leader of the Angel Exorcist, which leads us to our first official song in the show, Happy Day in Hell, which I would say is a great introduction song for Charlie, with how her ambition and upbeat personality shines through this song. While Charlie goes on a little side quest, Vaggy is the one that's trying to make a commercial for the hotel. And it's here where we get more painfully awkward scenes where Angel just tries to be funny.
I ain't no actor. I can't memorize this shit.
Well, we could improv this shit, baby cakes. Right.
Charlie has a sit-down conversation with Adam, the first man, where she quickly realizes that, yeah, this dude is a whole head case.
You'll love it.
Thanks.
I got you again, bitch! Fucking hilarious!
Now, I know this show gets made fun of a lot for its overuse of swearing. I will give the show some leeway, though, that I will say is not really the entire show, is more of a character problem. But with Adam, yeah, I would say he's probably the worst case of this. Like, if you had to take a shot every time this dude swears, then you would end up looking like this by the end of it. And while I get it, the dude's an asshole and he does portray the villain role very well, is like, do we really need him to curse that much? It's like, Viv, I think you hammered the point pretty well by now. But regardless, Adam hears Charlie, but he never really listens and brushes aside the possibility that any souls can be redeemed, which has us transition in what I think is one of the catchiest songs in this entire show.
Cause hell is forever, whether you like it or not. Have their chance to behave better, now they boil.
Like, despite all my criticisms with Adam, I will admit he's a very fun character, and the Hell is Forever song exudes that perfectly. And the song ends by Adam stating that the next extermination will be in 6 months instead of a year like it usually is. Now, you may have noticed I didn't mention one character, and that's Lute. She's the black angel next to Adam. Now, to be honest, I hate to break it to all the people that like Lute, but I really don't got anything to say about her. Not just for this episode, but for the entire show, matter of fact, because all she is really in season 1 is that she's just a sidekick and a mouthpiece for Adam. But luckily, with the season 2 teasers, it does look like she's going to get a bigger role in the next season. But until then, I really don't have that much of an opinion of her. Charlie ends up having to come back to the hotel defeated, but luckily with Vaggie making a deal with Alistair, they managed to finally make the commercial good, and the episode ends off with it being revealed that exorcist angels can be killed, which worries Lou, but Adam assures that they can't let them catch on.
We come back, there won't be a demon left alive to pull a stunt like this again.
For me, episode 1 is decent. Like, I do have a lot of flaws with this particular episode because 1 is just not funny. And on top of that, the next couple of episodes that we'll get into are just so much better that it makes this one obsolete. Overall, not bad, but they definitely could have went harder on this episode. Now we move on to episode 2, and in my opinion, it has to be one of my favorites. This episode is truly a banger.
And I know bangers.
And while yes, I am being a little bit biased because we get a lot of my favorite character in this show, this episode in general just has some of my favorite moments of the show. I just have so many things to say that I'm just gonna get right into the episode. We open up with Charlie freaking out about the extermination happening 6 months, which means she's got limited time in order to prove that she can actually redeem sinners. Serpentius crashes the party to get back at Alistair, but Alistair just completely disrespects him and doesn't even know who he is. And you see, scenes like this are why I love Alistair so much. I'm gonna just play you the whole clip.
Ooh, he's a bad boy.
Huh. Well, if all that's true, you'd think I'd have heard of you.
I attacked you literally last week. We've done battle like 20 times.
Well, you must have been really bad at this.
I'm him.
And just a quick rundown on Serpentius. I like him. He's kind of like a Dr. Doofenshmirtz type villain. So I'm not going to say much about him this episode, but he does get better later on. In this scene where he crashes the hotel, Serpentius explains his main motive is to get on the good side of the V's.
Wait, who are the V's?
Now that's good television.
The V's are a trio of villains who run all the media and entertainment of hell. Vox runs everything when it comes to television, Velvet runs the fashion industry, and Valentino controls the sex industry. Let's start off with the leader of the group, Vox, which I have as one of my favorite characters. He's a smooth talking executive that has brainwashing powers with his mind control eye. I think that's what it is. I honestly don't know. Alistair is his biggest enemy, and they're basically yin-yang of each other. And on top of that, he has one of the best voice actors in Christian Borlaire. Now let's move on to the freak of this show, Valentino, the most hated character in this show. The best way I can describe him to people is that he's pretty much cartoon Diddy. I'm not freaking kidding. That's literally his entire character.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Valentino party, so.
And you're not gonna believe what I have to say, but I actually like his character. I think he might be one of my favorite characters. God damn, I really sounded like Alistair with that laugh. Now, before y'all get mad at me in the comments, y'all gotta understand that I can enjoy a genuinely bad person in a show. And while I don't endorse any of the stuff he does in a certain episode, I do feel like he's one of the best written characters in this entire show. He also has one of the best designs, and in general is just a really fun character to watch. His chemistry with Vox is also really cool to see as they bounce off each other really good. And I mean that both figuratively and literally. All I'm saying is that if you hate Valentino but also very much like Alistair, then I don't know what to tell you other than that you're a hypocrite. And finally, we get to the backbone of the V's, Velvet. And to be honest, I think she's the weakest link if we're being for real. Like, she's not even a bad character, she's just not as interesting as the other V's. Maybe in the next season she'll get more moments, but in this season she really doesn't do all that much besides help out the other two V's. But anyways, what I love most about this episode is the first song, Stayed Gone. First of all, not only is the song catchy as hell, but the dynamic between Vox and Alistair is perfectly portrayed, with Vox trying to make sure Alistair stays gone and making a statement that he's the new big shot when it comes to media in hell.
I gotta send a message of who's really in charge of things now. Welcome home. I'm gonna make you wish that you'd stayed gone. Say hello to a new status quo.
And Alistair just completely dismantles him without any effort.
Salutations! Good to be back on the air. Yes, I know it's been a while since someone with style treated hell to a broadcast. Sinners rejoice!
What a dated voice!
Instead of a clout-chasing, mediocre video podcast.
And Alistair claims in the song that Vox asked him to join his team, but he rejected, and that's why they have the beef that they have. And I also love how Alistair flips the song at the end, saying how he's gonna make Vox wish he stayed gone.
Let's begin. I'm gonna make you wish that I'd stayed gone. Tune on in when I'm done. Your status quo will know its race is run. Oh, this will be fun.
Back at the hotel, Serpentris is sent by the V's to go spy, and is here where we get our friendly reminder of how corny this show can be.
Hey, you.
Who, me?
Yeah, you look like a kid who could use some devil's dandruff. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Not me. I have to go home and study. Only cool thing here is to say no to drugs. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to not have sexual intercourse before marriage.
Boy, are you corny.
Eventually, Serpentris is caught, however, by Angel. And when Serpentris asks Vox to come help him out, we get one of the most fucked up scenes. I don't really know how else to describe it, so I'm just gonna show you.
Just in need of immediate evacuation.
Serpentris, wait, you were caught? It hasn't even been a day.
Please, you've got to get me out of here.
I can't believe we thought you could handle even something this simple. And do us a favor. If they don't kill you, go ahead and do it yourself, you miserable failure.
And this leads into probably the corniest song in this entire show. Throughout the song, Charlie tries to forgive Serpentris for betraying them, and saying that if he was really serious about being redeemed, it starts with sorry. And while I understand the message of this song, I just feel like it's a bit too cringe for my liking. And while yes, I get this show is supposed to be intentionally corny, at least a little bit, I just feel like with songs like this, it could go a little bit too much. Like, it can almost get into High School Musical levels of corny. But I don't know, maybe I'm just bugging, but that's just my opinion. And I can get by the corniness because the episode ends off with more Alistair.
What? You'll have to try harder than that next time, old pal.
I know I said this was one of the best episodes from the show, but now actually reviewing and talk about it, I think this might be my favorite one. I say that because this episode just has everything I'm looking for within the show. It has a lot of Alistair. It's the first episode where we actually see Charlie try and redeem people. We get to see cool side villains that are going to be important later. And overall, this is probably the most fun I've had with any episode in this show. Hopefully the next episode keeps this up, right?
Yeah. Not many people have been able to take even this much off me. It must have meant quite a lot to you.
Episode 3 is honestly the most forgettable episode in this show. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. It's not even bad, it's just very weak compared to the other episodes, and the writing is arguably the worst in this episode. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't really feel like spending too much time on this episode, so I'm gonna get through it quick. We get to meet all the overlords in this episode as they have a meeting. In my opinion, while this is cool to see, I feel like they could have saved this for season 2. As outside of Alistair and Velvet, we don't know any of the other overlords, and to be honest, I could care less about them. But the purpose of the overall meeting was to discuss that they found out angels can be killed, and Velvet was suggesting now that they know that angels can be killed that they should take the fight to them. However, Carmilla doesn't agree, which leads to a song that I feel like is the most overrated in this entire show.
We can't act without more intelligence.
No wonder I'm so respectless. I could eat you lot for breakfast.
Mid!
Why is this song one of the most viewed out of the entire show? Why? There are so many better songs in this show. Why does this have so many views? Yeah, I feel like all the social media references Velvet sang throughout this song was forced as hell.
Since when are overlords too scared to fight? You're long past trending. Sorry, babe, but I ain't swiping right.
Are you done?
Oh, and I forgot to mention, while that's going on, Charlie and Vaggie decide to come up with trust exercises for the team to do. And this single-handedly creates one of the worst scenes in this entire show.
Well, how about this? I love to suck
I swear to you say
popsicles, you sicko. Get your mind out of the gutter. But you know, too.
That legitimately might have been one of the worst jokes I've seen. Now look, I'm trying to get behind Angel's character as much as I can, but it's hard when his humor is basically this.
Oh my god, my pussy! Woohoo!
We are for suck dick real good. Yes. Thank you for the gawk. Yes.
I just don't like this part of the episode because this scene is what every non-Hazbin Hotel fan thinks every Hazbin Hotel scene is like. And this scene is also the epitome of what everyone clowns the show for, in terms of its overuse of swearing and sex jokes. Carmilla eventually ends the Overlord meeting, which makes us randomly transition into another song. And this one was easily the most forced. Like, Zestial and Carmilla were in the midst of a conversation just for it to randomly transition to a song. And while I do love the My Chemical Romance inspired instrumental, this song is still pretty forgettable for me. And by the end of the episode, Alistair finds out that Carmilla was the one who killed the angel. Now, before we move on to the next episode, I just want to address one thing about Alistair, which is the whole voodoo symbols he has. If you want a more in-depth video on it, I suggest going to American Elephant's video. Is really good, but the overall premise of the video was that voodoo was a very stigmatized practice throughout history, and that a lot of what TV shows and movies portray as voodoo is incorrect, as voodoo in and of itself is not evil. So trying to attach voodoo to an evil character like Alistair isn't a good look. Now, my take on this is that I don't get why Alistair was a character that made people say that portraying voodoo this way is bad, because keep in mind, voodoo has been portrayed like this for the longest. Just look at Princess and the Frog. But despite that, I do feel like they should take out the voodoo symbols or at least find a way around it. Again, American Elephant brings up a lot of ways they could work around it, so go check his video. But overall, this show needs to be more careful of how it uses symbols like that. But to wrap this all up, this episode was forgettable as hell and is the worst written in the entire show. And I know I skipped a lot of parts of this episode, but I don't feel like people will blame me because this episode is the least popular for a reason. Next. Ah, yes. Now we're on to this episode. Episode 4, Masquerade, definitely has to be the craziest episode in this entire show. But in general, this episode is truly gonna be the make or break of whether you like this show or not. Everyone that I've seen like this show loves this episode, but everyone that I've seen not like this show hate this episode. And it could be argued that this episode single-handedly is why this show is so controversial. You wonder why I state that this show is the most polarizing show ever made? This episode is why. And just want to give a disclaimer because this episode might be sensitive for some people because it dives into deep topics of sexual assault and rape. So don't say I didn't warn you when I told y'all this episode gets crazy. And one more thing I want to state before we actually talk about the episode is that I want to go a little more in depth of why I think Angel Dust's character is overrated. While I did previously state that I don't think his character is funny, that's not really the main problem I had with his character up until now. No, the main problem I have with his character is how he's represented up until now. Allow me to explain. Now, most of you guys know by now that Angel Dust is a sex worker, a very gay one at that, but more importantly that he's very hypersexual in the show. And I think it's safe to say that he has gone overboard with that way too many times, which leads to the problems I'm about to mention. Now, to you, maybe Angel being hypersexual may not seem that big of a deal and just seem as cringe, but it can also lead to people thinking that the show is feeding into stereotypes of gay people. I can't find the original video where I saw this, but I remember this one TikTok video complaining about Angel Dust and how he's a bad representation of gay people, because kinkiness and hypersexuality has always been a thing that anti-LGBTQ people have thrown over the LGBTQ community's heads. And the person was claiming that shows like this only feed into that stereotype, that gay people are just sex freaks and not just normal people like everyone else. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Up until this episode, if we're strictly talking about episodes 1 to 3, I probably would have agreed with that opinion wholeheartedly until episode 4. This is really the episode where I could finally understand what they're trying to do with Angel's character. And ever since this episode, his character has really grown on me. Now, let's not get carried away. He's still not one of my favorite characters in the show. He just went from being heavily overrated to slightly overrated for me. But even still, I gotta give the show props for making me more on board for Angel's character. So let's see how that happens by showing you guys one of the most fucked up episodes I've seen. We start off by Angel just showing his sex tape for show and tell. I honestly don't know why they did this. I guess it was to set the mood of the episode, I think. I don't think it was worth it, like it really doesn't do anything. Then Huss finally calls out Angel on his BS, saying how annoying he is and claiming everything about his life is fake. Angel tries to laugh it off and act like he's not bothered, but you can kind of tell deep down that it does bother him to some extent. Then Angel gets a call from Val to go to the studio. This kind of upsets Charlie because she wants to spend more time helping Angel redeem himself. So she finally decides to command a little authority by standing up to Angel's boss to convince him to give Angel more time at the hotel. And take a guess what Cartoon Diddy does.
Welcome to my humble sex dungeon. What can I do for such a...
If y'all didn't think Valentino was just Cartoon Diddy before, this episode is really about hammer you that fact in every way possible. But before we go on, I just gotta ask, what the fuck is Charlie doing? Like, you really thought going up to the corn studio awkwardly was the best way to go about this? Like, I know her biggest character flaw is that she desperately wants to help everyone, and that's perfectly betraying this episode, but it just leads to this awkward scene where she doesn't even command authority like she previously said she would, and all she ends up saying is, okay Valentino, I won't get in the way of your work, obviously. And then for the next 2 minutes, it's just Charlie saying, this scene is maybe a little bit too graphic. Like, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? Like, it's a corn studio, obviously it's gonna be graphic. And this causes her to be clumsy as she trips over a cable and fire sets off. And that right there was Valentino's last straw. You may have seen this dude be a freaky weirdo a billion times, but you haven't seen this dude's final form when he's serious. Which leads us into the fucked up part of the episode.
Val, I didn't know that... Val,
You really think you can have Lucifer's little bitch fight your battles for you?
Now, please, I'm sorry.
You bring her here to protect you? To fuck with me?
Told y'all this dude was cartoon Diddy. But on a serious note, this scene is so uncomfortable to watch. You can really feel Valentino's presence in the scene. As the scene direction with making Valentino always bigger than Angel is just a slight touch that makes this scene so much more powerful. And this was the scene that kind of slowly made me enjoy this show more and made me realize why they made Angel so hypersexual within the first few episodes. Because this episode tries to explain that he uses his hypersexuality as a coping mechanism and how it's him basically put on a persona to mask his trauma. Now, does that fully excuse Angel for being a weirdo and basically evading people's boundaries? Hell no. But I do feel like it does start to defeat the narrative that Angel's character is basically a caricature of gay people. But in reality, what I think they were trying to do with Angel's character is give a deep dive into how mentally and emotionally unstable a person can be from an abusive industry, which causes the damage to start at the core, so the self-destruction starts from the inside out. And can I just give a shout out to both Angel's and Valentino's voice actors, which are Joe Perez and Blake Roman, because they both nailed it in this scene. And I just like how increasingly intense this scene got as it went along.
I say come, you say
Yes, Valentino.
when I say you are fucking 20 guys before lunch, you say
Yes, Valentino.
when I say you better get that fucking cunt out of my studio.
Charlie then tries to intervene, but Angel is forced by Valentino to kick Charlie out, which is a really gut-punching scene, especially since Angel clearly didn't want to do it, but he knows he has to. And seeing Charlie's face during this scene made it even more sad. This transitions us to the most popular song in the show, Poison, the song that has 180 million streams. Personally, while I do like what this song is trying to convey, I feel like it's a case where I liked what they were trying to convey and portray more than the actual song itself. It's just not my cup of tea for me. And the big controversy with this song is that people are accusing it of glorifying abuse, which is just not true at all. I feel like the YouTuber Blooms explained it perfectly, so I'm gonna just play a clip from him.
Of the tweets I initially saw criticizing this show, one of the biggest criticisms I saw of this sequence is that it's glorifying this toxic abuse dynamic, and here's why that's dumb. I think a lot of people nowadays confuse portraying something on screen with glorifying it. Just because they portrayed an abusive relationship in an accurate way does not mean it's being glorified. This whole sequence is terrifying and disturbing. They're not romanticizing it in any way, it's just real. Now with the music video, I could see how people might think that that's glorifying the topic a bit, but again, this is the type of lifestyle people in these situations actually live. And the whole point is that Angel doesn't actually enjoy any of this. He's just doing what he has to do to survive. You see him put a character on at the very beginning just so he can even survive the shoot, and how at the very end this character breaks down and we see his real feelings. This behavior is self-destructive. The lyrics of the song literally spell it out. In my opinion, there's nothing being glorified here. It's just an accurate portrayal of some terrible things.
Let me just give a big shout out to Bloom's video, as I think he easily has the best review on Hazbin Hotel out of anybody I've seen. So go show him love. But I just wanted to bring up his video because I completely agree with what he said in that clip. But back to talking about the episode. Angel ends up going to a bar after getting into an argument with Huss, and someone ends up spiking his drink. But luckily, Huss ends up seeing it and stops Angel from drinking it. After that, Huss and Angel have another discussion outside, and this is where Angel ends up having a mental breakdown, and he reveals the reason why he keeps indulging in his destructive lifestyle is to make himself mentally and physically broken to the point where Valentino doesn't want him anymore. Now, let me start off by saying that this scene was really sad. Like, even as a non-Angel fan, it was hard for me to see him like this. And while I'm not gonna say whether this is an accurate representation of how abuse victims are, because I was never abused, I will say from what I've seen for TV shows and movies, the way they portrayed it in this show was really good. I really feel like they did the topic justice. With that being said, however, let's not act like Angel didn't do anything wrong in this episode, because if we're gonna be honest with ourselves, he was very very selfish. Allow me to explain. While I do like how Angel's character is written in this episode, for me it still doesn't undermine the fact that Angel literally sexually harasses Huss throughout this episode. And you see, this is a big problem because first of all, this show is trying to push a relationship between the two. I don't know whether it's confirmed, but I heard their relationship is supposed to be a slow burn, which if I'm being honest, I'm not a fan of. I would much rather them just be friends, as Angel needs that way more than he needs an actual relationship. So I think it's weird how they're trying to kind of push this relationship or friendship. I don't even know at this point, but they don't even make Angel apologize to Huss for all the times he sexually harassed him. Huss briefly mentions it during their second argument outside, but it feels way more like lip service than them actually addressing the issue. And with this, I think you guys start to see why I'm not fully hooked on Angel's character, because I get what the show is trying to communicate with Angel's character and I like it, but when it messes up little details like this, it can make people not fully convinced, which again can make people believe that Angel's a bad representation of topics like sexual assault, because I feel like it could give some people the impression that the show is trying to say, oh, just because Angel got sexually assaulted, that completely justifies him sexually harassing others, which obviously that's not how it fucking works. I feel like I'm dragging this part of the episode too long, so instead, if you want a more in-depth video on why some people don't like Angel does, may I suggest Galaxy's video. I feel like his video perfectly summarizes the plot holes in Angel's character. But to shift the topic, I think this is a good time to finally talk about Husk, as he easily is one of my favorite characters, not just because of his design, but I really like the role he plays in the show as being the older mentor in the hotel giving other people guidance. And most importantly of all, he is voiced by the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Keith David himself. Now, the final thing to tackle with this episode is the last song, Loser Baby, which I think everyone should agree is the best song in the entire show, and it's one that I feel like some people misunderstood. Husk says throughout the song that he sold his soul too, just like Angel sold his to Valentino, and throughout the song Husk isn't denying that Angel is in a bad situation, cause when you take in all the stuff that Angel has done throughout this season on top of the abuse that he has to deal with Valentino, he's pretty much the definition of an incel and a loser. But Huss tries to comfort him by saying as long as they stick together, maybe things will work out differently. And can I just say, the visuals for this song are amazing. Like, the neon lights in this scene complement it perfectly. Like, I can't give it enough praise. But the most important thing about this song is that it allowed Huss and Angel to fully open up with each other. And while they may be losers, they'll still make the best out of the situation they were dealt with, as long as they can stick by and lift each other up. This is just the song that perfectly describes Hazbin Hotel in a nutshell. If I had to play one song from this show from someone who hasn't even seen the show, this song would be it, cause it is that good. And the episode ends off with Charlie apologizing to Angel for making things worse at Angel's job, but Angel forgives her and thanks her for looking out for him. This episode is truly something special. I'll go on the record to say that. And while this episode still has some writing problems, and you can argue that this episode is a little bit overhyped, I still loved what they were able to do here. It's just that they gotta work better at communicating the messages to the audience and just overall getting the little things right in the writing department, because this episode perfectly encapsulates what this show is capable of when it's not always being in its comfort zone of sex jokes and silliness. And I really hope they do more episodes like this. Once again, I just hope they work better with communication and plot holes in the writing, because once it can figure out its footing there, the sky's the limit.
Hey, how about that drink?
You read my mind.